pull up my agenda here. We are going to record this meeting just in case, as Johnny Paul said, we have some people that need to check it out for later clarification. All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead, Amy, and make that bad boy full screen, or we can't do full screen. That's it. That's it right there. Okay, cool. All right. Well, let's hop into this. Congratulations. Very exciting quarterfinal rounds all over the state. Very excited for your school. So welcome to the semifinal and final rounds of the Minnesota State High School League Boys and Girls Soccer Tournament. So real quick, I'd like to reintroduce our staff just so everyone can know who's associated with this. So Amy, let's go ahead and move to the next slide here after our quick welcome. And let's talk a little bit about our tournament personnel. Phil Archer is me, tournament director. Amy Ince there is the brains and all the movement behind the Boys and Girls State Soccer Tournament, and is a point of contact. I think if there's anything that you need me for that I might be dragging on or anything like that, you can get to Amy and she will kick me in the butt to make sure that I get back to you ASAP. Our tournament manager is Emmett Keenan. Emmett, I believe, is on the call this morning. I'm not seeing this video, but Emmett is on the call. Thanks, Amy, shaking her head. And then we've got Scott McCready as an assistant tournament manager. And then we've got our band and cheer hosts also listed here as well. So we've got Bob and Mary Gray. We've got Nancy Manderfield. We've got Abby on here. So a whole host of folks that are very, very invested into the success of this tournament and the experience for your student athletes. All right. So I referenced in our initial state qualifiers meeting last week or last Saturday during the seating meeting, our participating schools guide. That is still the go-to document for all things state tournament at this point. So I want to reference you back to that. Get familiar with that document. That is available on your ADs and your coach's dashboard. So I think that is a safe initial point of reference if there are any questions for clarity or anything like that before you reach out to Tim on a media issue, or before you reach out to Laura on a tech or a ticketing issue, or Amy or I. So I would definitely reference that. As coaches, you should be working with your ADs to answer any questions first and foremost before you reach out to for further clarification. Excuse me. All right. We're also going to touch on busing and official roster here. Those are the big things that are different here going into US Bank Stadium that you all need to be aware of. All right, so real quick, we'll clear up your fan and your band buses because those are the easiest ones for me to just tell you about, right? Band and fan buses are going to park. They must, if they're going to park, they must go to the city of Minneapolis parking website and obtain a permit. Instructions and a link for these permits are on your coaches and AD's dashboard. Your band bus, if you are going to have a band attending the, Amy, can we go to that next slide there just so I can give them a point of reference here? If you're going to have a band bus, they can drop off at that Pent Air gate right on 6th Street there. They will go from that Pent Air drop off over to the pass gate. And then Amy's got her cursor right there by the pass gate. Thank you, Amy. They will enter there, leave their cases on the bus. They will have to go through a mag and security and all that stuff to get in. So leaving their cases on the bus and going and sitting down is going to be the best, quickest way to get them in. All I can tell you is tell your band to be patient and come early, okay? Be patient and come early. If you are playing in an 8 o'clock game, those ADs I have contacted for Tuesday, Wednesday. If you're playing in an 8 o'clock game and your band wants to play the national anthem, we've got to know that so that if you're not there and not able to do it, that we have an alternative means available, okay? So that's the band side of things. Pent Air gate, pass gate, be ready to roll.
Phil, just a reminder too, that for those 8 o'clock games, the warm-up starts at 7:25 a.m. So if your band shows up at 10 minutes to 8, they're not going to get much of a chance to play, if at all, other than halftime. So
Correct.
If you're bringing a band, and I know that's hard with transportation, and I know all the issues with that, but they're going to start warming up at 7:25 for those 8 o'clock games. And if your band doesn't arrive for another 20 minutes after that, they're going to miss most of their opportunity.
Correct. Thanks,
Do you know what time that they would play the national anthem for that, if they were to come?
Probably be right around, would be right around 7:55.
7:50. Yeah.
Yeah, 7:50, 7:55. We'll start the World Cup walkout. Typically would happen right about 7:45. By the time we get them out there, get them all introduced and stuff, and then the anthem would happen. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And just for reference, most of it, our Tuesday, Wednesdays are 3A schools. So those EDs have been contacted. And so if you've gotten a phone call, talk about it, it's there. And it's already on your radar. Just mention it just for general purpose here at this point. Okay. And then spectator buses, we'll move over to spectator buses. So our spectator buses, up one, there you go, will drop off on Chicago. You can go back to that little picture for me, Amy, thank you. And that Chicago Avenue entrance right there, it goes right into the main entrances for general admission to get into the stadium. So those buses won't be able to park there, but they can definitely drop there and pick up there. Okay, and then those buses, if for whatever reason you're acquiring parking permits for them, it would be the same process. I'm not sure if those will be buses that you would just have come and pick up. That's all to your individual school to determine. Okay, now let's get into a little bit more complex aspect of our team buses. All right, so here we go. Team buses. So one of the things, so many of you have qualified for state tournaments before and have been in those loading dock areas at US Bank. A little caveat this year is changing, some rules changing within US Bank that are making us change a little bit, is that they are only going to allow 4 buses parked stationary down there at a time. Okay, so that's a guideline that they're using now that's going to alter us a little bit. So the long and the short of it is this: if your team, your school is a team that is playing or a team that is on deck, their bus will be allowed to park down there. Okay, the teams arriving early can pull into the loading dock. So let's say you've got a early afternoon game and you want to get there at 8 to watch, the 8 o'clock games. You can come in, but your bus will have to leave after you on bus, right? You will be able to get off the bus. You'll take your team through the mags and through the bag screenings, and then you'll be escorted over to section 138, where your team now is in a secure field level, can go and observe the games prior until you can get into your locker room. Okay, but those buses need to leave until your team is essentially on deck or playing. Okay, so they can accommodate 4 buses down there. So please notify your bus drivers of that. We've got an awesome dock manager that will be kind of moving traffic around and everything, but we want to do our best to have our drivers and our teams prepared to know that if they're not the team on deck or they're not the team playing, that bus is going to be asked to leave and to go find parking elsewhere. Okay, now this is another caveat. Following the game, teams will have 30 minutes to exit the locker room. Your team hosts will assist with that and board their bus. This is very similar to how basketball is ran. This is very similar to how hockey is ran. This is new for soccer, so go with me. You'll have 30 minutes to exit the locker room and to board your bus in the loading dock area. Teams that wish to stay and watch games after their game is done will re-enter using the pass gate, the legacy pass gate, and they'll have to do that from outside the stadium. So there will be no more going to the general seating from the field level, as has been in years past, where kids could just toss their bags underneath and go up that section 140 staircase and get over to the section of the south side where spectators generally seat. 30 minutes to get out of the locker room, load your bus. Your bus will leave under the supervision of your coaches and team. Then they can drop off at the pass gate if they wish, or our student athletes can come back. Student athletes and coaches can come back and re-enter the pass gate, and they will be seated. They will be seated in the spectator section as regular spectators. They get free admission. They get all that stuff. That's no big deal. But they've got to enter through the pass gate and be seated on the south side of the stadium where all the regular spectators are seated at. Okay, so that's a big change. Please, if your coach isn't on this call, please make sure that is communicated to them. AD, our coach, if your AD is not on this call, make sure that is communicated. Those are 2 very, very big changes to US Bank Stadium's logistical operation. 4 buses in the loading dock at a time, and then our teams will not be going from the field level to the general seating, spectator seating, as they have in the past. They will be leaving as a team, and then they are welcome to come back in to watch the games for free through the pass gate. Okay, thank you, Amy. All right, and then we just have a little graphic here showing where the buses come in near the Eco Lab gate there off of the 4th Street. And most of your bus drivers that you're having from your companies are familiar with this. And as I said, there's an awesome loading dock manager that US Bank has, and he'll be directing traffic. But like I said, this is just more so that you can have those guys prepared when they're dropping your schools off. Okay. And I will note as well, for our 8 o'clock games, that dock will be open and available just a little before 7 a.m. For your reference, 8 o'clock game schools. All right, let's hop into our next piece on the participating schools guide, the official roster. Okay, your official roster that was submitted at your quarterfinal site is your state tournament official roster. Okay, your quarterfinal sites submitted all of the official rosters that were handed to the officials on those quarterfinal dates to us. That is the official roster that we are operating with. Your team, as they enter the building and are checked in off the bus, will be cross-referenced with those official rosters. Okay. Any injury substitutions that come to that official roster require some sort of doctor's notification on it and MSHSL approval. So we've got to be notified. Me or Amy need to be notified. Who Amy will notify me. We'll have to notify us and seek approval of that to cross-reference against your official roster first, and then give you the approval before an injury. God forbid if there's an injury substitution we have to do. That's the process we're going to go. Okay. Tournament admittance forms. We'll use the tournament submittance form that you submitted tournament admittance form that you submitted during your quarterfinal week here. So that will be our general one that includes your coaches, managers, trainers, stuff like that. You are required to have 4 ball shakers for each game. The ball shakers must be between 7th and 12th grade. That's this is not new for any of y'all. We know that we have talked to our pass gate about having some flexibility with the ball shakers. We know that, you know, there's kids' schedules and this kid might be able to come and not come or whatever. So Amy, do you want to elaborate a little bit on what you were telling me yesterday with what the pass gate folks are instructed on?
Yeah, we've just asked them to be flexible. So if you listed 4 kids and one of them needs to switch out, you don't need to tell us that. That can be managed at the pass gate. So the student would go up and say, this is my name. I'm here for this person's name, and they'll let them in. You still just get 4 in. So if you had some people listed multiple kids on their ball chasers form, and that's fine, but 4 will get in as ball chasers, receive their t-shirt and be down in the field.
Mm-hmm. Sweet, thank you, Amy. And I'll just, we've got direct messaging on to me, and just a general question about busing. I'll just kick back to it real quick. If you do have school vans or any other school of vehicles that are coming to drop off, they've got to drop off and find parking. All right, and there are several ramps right very close to US Bank Stadium that you can drop your kids off and go park in. Was it Delton? Is that what the ramp name is? Amy, I can't remember the name.
There's a Fleet Farm ramp is the one that's connected by Skyway to the stadium, and the downtown east, the DTE ramp is the underground ramp. That's just across from the Legacy Gate entrance. That's the one that we use for our personnel.
Sweet. There are a handful of ramps on the other side too, on the west side of the stadium, that are 1 block or less away. So those are good parking places as well. If you want to park a school vehicle. Okay, we'll hop back into our roster here. Last thing on our official roster pieces, team supervision. Okay, one of my biggest concerns in US Bank Stadium is the amount of just crap they have down there on that field level, right, in that area. So your coach's supervision, your team's official administrator that's on that admittance form, that is really crucial, gang. We really have to make sure that we're putting our kids in the best position to come in, focus on their game, not get sidetracked with all the other things that happen around US Bank Stadium. I mean, it's going to be an awesome experience. A lot of their minds are going to be blown, but we've got to keep them online and in track to come and play a game. This is business, and have a great time doing it, and then advance and work towards winning a championship. So the team supervision piece is on your coaches. It's on your admin rep to be able to do that. Please keep an eye on them. If you come early, and you're welcome to sit in section 138 to observe the games prior to yours before you can get into your locker room, please make sure those kids are behaving. They're in that section. They're not on the field level wandering around. They're not going from section 138 to try and walk around the concourse. There are no concessions over there by 138. So there's basically, if you come in and enter in the loading dock area, you will be you're going to be considered on the field level, and we are considering essentially 138 the field level. That is a secured section just specifically for your teams, right? And so coaches and admin reps should be supervising your team while they're in that section, okay? If there's any questions on that, don't hesitate to reach out on it. But again, we've got to be responsible for our kids and make sure that we're putting them in a situation where they're not going to make a bad decision before or after a game or emotional time or anything like that. And there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of opportunities for kids to maybe make a poor choice after a game if there's emotions and stuff. And we want to make sure that we are doing our best to serve them. So next slide, Aim. All right. So game details. As we hop into some more of the logistics of the contest here, we're going to go look at the brackets to determine home team high seed or team on top of the bracket if both teams are unseeded, which we have that in some areas with and I know, for example, in a single A boys. So the high seed are the team that's on top of the bracket if both teams are unseeded. Games will not start before the published time. The national anthem will be played prior to the first game of each day only, the first game of the event that day. If you're the home team for the 8 a.m. game, please let us know, as stated before, if your band is interested or able to play the national anthem. If not, again, for my 8 o'clock schools, there's no pressure from us to do it. We just know that it's an honor to be able to do it at the state tournament, and we want your band members to be able to have that honor and that privilege to play the national anthem at US Bank if that gets them excited, and your band can get here for that. So we're excited to provide that opportunity. Pre-game procedures are in the participation guide. Teams will have 20 minutes to warm up for the semifinal games in uniform. No changing on the field. Okay, if your team wears warm-ups and then their scrimmage vest on top of that and their jersey is on the bottom and they can take those things off on the field, that's great. But we don't want any shirtless boys or girls in sports bras running around US Bank Stadium's playing surface. Okay, so if they change, please have them change in the locker room. And they should be in game uniform on the bottom of those warm-ups and that scrimmage vest if that's what they're doing during your warm-ups. So there'll be no changing on the field. There will be inspections in the locker room and on the field from official standpoint, so be prepared for that. And then warm-up and game balls will be provided. And then lastly, all of you should be familiar with this already because we've had a fourth official for all of your quarterfinal site games, but there will be a fourth official that will be managing game substitution, communicating with schools, and the head table that's there. So that's not new. Everyone played with a fourth official last night or Tuesday or Wednesday, and things have worked out well in that area. All right, post-game procedures. I'm just listing out the tie-breaking procedures here. I'm not going to go through them as they are in the participation guide, but it's something to be noted, right? Make sure that you as a coach are versed in that. Make sure you as an AD are versed in that in case you get questions from your community on tie-breaking procedures or whatever. A little bit different in the state tournament. So players must stay on the field during any celebration. During or after the game, they should not in any circumstances leave the field or climb into the stands. Okay. Awards will be presented immediately following each third place and championship game. Okay. All tournament team awards will be presented after each championship game before the medal presentation of first and second place. Okay. So what that will look like is the teams will come out. I'll hop in here to the procedures. So procedures for presenting medals. So before the procedures for presenting medals happen, we will have the award presentation for the all tournament team that's taken care of by our Coaches Association with Greg Juba and his crew. And that will be closer to the side of the spectators, so across from our official table and your benches. And then the procedure for presenting awards and trophies, our trophies and medals, excuse me, for our first and second place teams. The official squad members will receive medals, 22, 3, and 2, which is as normal. They'll line up on their respective spectator sidelines. So if you're the away team and the home team here, your fans will be on the opposite side of the stadium from you. We will line up on that sideline facing the crowd. We'll have the table in the middle there. And then from there, each member will step forward when it's time to receive their medal. Many of us have done this before, just business as usual. They'll step back. When the entire team is completed, the captains will be called forward to receive their trophy. They'll get their trophy and then they'll go back to the side and then we'll do the next team. Okay. So nothing too crazy or out of the ordinary there. The biggest thing is we're not going to do it on our bench side. We'll be doing it closer to the spectator side. So the opposite sideline from your bench, right? Just so that we're in front of our spectators and we're giving mom and dad and community the opportunity to get some good pictures and see all that cool stuff and for our teams to be recognized. Okay. Go ahead. All right, so just hopping back into a little bit of the team and spectator supervision. So please have your designated administrator, AD, or whoever check in with us in the tournament headquarters. So I will be in the tournament headquarters most of the time. Emmett or Scott or someone will be down in that tournament headquarters. We'd love to have your designated administrator come and check in with us in the headquarters just to make sure that you're there, make sure you've got our contact information, we've got yours in the event of an emergency or something needs to be moved around or we need your assistance for something, okay? The front row of all the spectator seating is blocked off. If you're required to have at least one administrator in front of your fans, so that's part of that purpose. So you can have one of those 4 that are given tickets seated in that area to kind of work on crowd control, keep eyes on the scenario as all of us are running around doing different duties that are required during the tournament. Okay. Please review your MSHSL behavior guidelines with your students and fans, and please share with them what's acceptable to be brought to the stadium related to purses, bags, noisemakers, all those things. You're responsible for the behavior of your fans. Obviously, U.S. Bank has security and people that can assist in extreme situations, but we really want to be able to self-police and make sure that we're putting our fans in the best position to represent our schools and our communities in the best way. And that's going to take some guidance from your leadership as well. Thanks, Amy. Okay, third place site details. Just going to cap off a little bit of these things because there will be a handful of teams going over to the West St. Paul Dome to compete in our third place contest. So West St. Paul Regional Athletic Center is on Robert Street. It does have limited seating. So let your communities know, like, don't show up there with 6 fan buses. Okay, that's not a place that holds that type of crowds. They do have 2 or 3 good-sized bleachers, but they are still mobile bleachers, and those usually accommodate our third place contest just perfectly. They also have areas where you can bring chairs. If you do have someone that prefers not climbing up a bleacher and sitting down on a hard piece of metal, they are more than welcome to bring some sort of lawn or folding chairs that most of our soccer families are accustomed to just through different levels of soccer that their kids have played in. So they are encouraged to bring chairs if they would like. There are no concessions available at that third place site, and your teams should come prepared to play. There are large restroom areas there, but I wouldn't necessarily consider them as like a locker room facility. They are large enough to change in, but we would recommend coming to that site prepared to play. Okay. Parking is free and on site, so that's a very nice convenience of that venue. And it is literally right there. You park your car and you walk out, and you're in the front door there, which is nice.
Would you rather I drove so you could just take the calls?
Thanks, Judy. There's no overtime in our third place contest. In the event we have a tie at the conclusion of one of our third place games, both teams will be receiving medals for third place. Okay, and then awards at the third place sites will be presented at the conclusion of each individual game. So families, teams are not hanging around for one award ceremony. At the conclusion of each game, we will present awards for those third place finishers. All right, just a heads up here, really communicate this out to your communities that U.S. Bank is a cashless facility. all concessions, apparel on our side of things, food stuff with them, anything that is purchased there is a debit or a credit card of some capacity. I will also note that they do not have reverse ATMs. Some of our other venues do have the reverse ATMs that can turn cash into a card, but US Bank does not have those in their facilities. So if you definitely want to get this out to your community, because there's a handful of kids that mostly it's our middle school kids, but there's times where mom gives little Johnny $20 and says have fun at the tournament. Well, he's not going to be able to do anything. So make sure you're getting that word out to your community that those kids have to have some sort of form of electronic payment if they're going to want to take advantage of concessions or our apparel. Okay. All right, now as we move into some ticket sale stuff, I'm going to look here. I've got a handful of questions that have been directed over to me. I'll answer some of those as we transition into ticketing with Laura. Laura's going to touch on ticketing, apparel, and some of the other logistics on the electronic and the tech side of things with US Bank. Laura, take it away.
Great. Phil, you've done a great job preparing people for the player and team expectations. The rest of these really talk both about team, but also things to share with your communities. First one is that tickets should be purchased online. We use Hometown Ticketing as our ticket vendor for all of our quarterfinals. As we move to US Bank, Ticketmaster becomes our ticket vendor. For Ticketmaster tickets, they cannot be presented as a paper ticket. They must be presented in that app through the Ticketmaster account. They'll scan them directly from that mobile device. They can put them into their Google or Apple Wallet if that's more convenient. And again, they can be transferred, but it all takes place within that Ticketmaster app. Just to note that third place will again use Hometown Ticketing. We have not obviously sold any tickets yet for third place because nobody's planning to play in that third place game, but those are also there and for sale at this point. But your spectators may encounter two different ticketing vendors as they move through the games next week. The next one is just a quick screenshot on our ticket page. Again, even though we use different ticket vendors for different venues, those are always linked on this page. People can get to them through the US Bank Ticketmaster site. But again, as we use different ones, this is really the best place to direct all of your spectators and communities to. We will have apparel on site at US Bank. We expect our apparel vendors to be there throughout the tournament. They'll be set up out on the concourse. As Phil said, they are also cashless. So again, cards are required for them. They do have an online presence also. You're welcome to go there or send folks to that online presence. Online does not mean order online and pick up at the tournament. Order online means order online, pay a shipping fee, and have it shipped to you. So again, they are doing a great job with our tournaments. We're excited to have Signature Concepts apparel is beautiful and fun and really been a good hit so far this winter. This fall only.
This fall, yep.
It's only fall.
So Signature Concepts has done a really good job, as Laura mentioned, and we're very excited to have them. They'll be designing custom stuff for us for every individual tournament, everything, so your kids have a specified experience for soccer or for football or cross country. So they're very dedicated to soccer. They do a lot of stuff with MYS. So support them, love them up. They are doing everything to give us a first class experience on the apparel and merchandise side of things. So stop by and see them. I'm very excited to work with a local Minnesota company here.
Games will oh, sorry, one more slide first. Nope, that's good, Amy. Sorry. Again, this is where you want to drive your communities and spectators for finding all of the information that they want or need. From that sports and activities tab at the top of the website, if they pick either boys soccer or girls soccer, there are a number of buttons over on the right-hand side. That really should be everything that those spectators want or need to prepare for a visit to the state tournament. Our state tournament games will be streamed through NSPN. I believe that's the next slide, Amy. NSPN is the same as Prep Spotlight and School Space. They have changed their name and are rebranding. That continues to be our official state tournament streaming partner. They have also moved to a subscription model. So for $25 a year or $7 a month, folks can watch all of the contests that they want during that month or during that year. Great bargain during state tournament time for sure. Those were kind of game prices for last year, and this year that becomes a month price. So make sure you share that out with people who aren't able to be there and help them understand in this world of a lot of scamming folks that this is our real streaming partner during the school year. Moving on to the next slide, I'm going to turn it to Tim Layton to talk through a couple of media related items.
Very good. Thank you, Laura, and welcome everybody. For you coaches and administrators who are on this call, if you are participating on this call, that means you've had an absolutely terrific special season, and we congratulate you for that. More memories are in store as you advance to the semifinals at US Bank Stadium. As it relates to the credentialing of the student media piece, all credentials, as you know, must flow through the activities administrator. Each member school is permitted to have up to 2 students be considered student media and a faculty advisor. Again, all of these have to flow through the activities administrator or a designee. Laura is going to put into the chat a link. We are providing you the opportunity, the member schools that is, to update any credential requests as it relates to the student media or your faculty advisor. Please use that link up until 10 a.m. on Monday to submit any kind of updates or changes to your student media. And this is just a reminder that the designated team photographer program has been discontinued. I've had a chance to visit with administrators throughout these last 3 nights of quarterfinals to share more information about the student media program. Next slide, please. We also have another special treat for you in store when it comes to the post-game interviews. This will be familiar for some of you veterans who have been at US Bank Stadium before in this situation. For others, where this will be your first experience at the semifinals, we have a post-game news conference center that is set up after each semifinal and after each championship game. A member of the high school league's media team will greet you before each game and will provide a quick overview of the process. You, as a coach, have the ability to pick up to 3 players that you will bring with you to the news conference center. The news conference center is the same post-game news conference center that the Minnesota Vikings use after their ball games. It's just through the Delta Club. Following the game, approximately 5 to 10 minutes after each of your games, a member of the high school league student media team will escort you to the news conference center. Typically, the team that doesn't win goes first, and then the winners will go after that. We will help guide you through that process. It's a thrill for the students. It's a thrill for coaches to be a part of this very formal, very professional process. And we are excited to be able to continue providing that service for you. School administrators, ADs, anybody on site, you are with the admin team of your member schools, you are invited to come and observe your students. It's a great opportunity to be able to snap a picture of them in a professional environment being interviewed by the professional media. We are there. We are there to serve and to help you along, and we are happy to be here for you. Best wishes to all teams, and we'll see you next week. I believe that's it for me. Back to you, Phil.
Well, thanks, Laura, and thank you, Tim. I appreciate it. Oh no, Laura, you're still here with some of the ticket sales site. My fault.
Yeah, that slide again just directs people to over on the right side. You can always find the tickets that you need for each event. I think the last one is a map of the location. Phil, is this yours
Yep,
again?
yep, this is mine. So, so as we look at it here, on the bottom left there, you see away team's bench. Just behind that is where our headquarters is at. So all of you should have contact information for me as athletic directors. But for whatever reason, if you're not able to get a hold through email or phone, that's where the majority of things will be going down and happening. So that is, I apologize, I can't remember off the top of my head the section number that it's below, but it's on the field level. What does that say, Amy, on there? Your screen's bigger than mine. For the headquarters.
You access headquarters via the steps by section 138.
Yep.
And it's just to the right of section 138.
Okay, sweet. So you're coming down, and everyone, and Amy, could you put your cursor on section 138 so they can see where that holding area is? When teams come in, they're dropped off their bus. If they're going to view a game or something like that, that's the section that they'll be seated in. Okay. So you've got your away team side, your home team side. We want to get our spectators in the right spots, and there'll be signs all over the stadiums on that south side of the stadium where spectators will be seated. And then again, just to reiterate, during the awards presentations, we will move from our sideline over to the spectator sideline for the awards presentation. So okay, real quick, I got a text message from Emmett and Greg Juba correcting me or adjusting me, I would say, a little bit. So earlier in the slides, I put that we are going to provide warm-up balls. We will have an ample amount of soccer balls there in the event there's an additional need, but I would recommend bringing 9, according to Juba or Emmett, as warm-up balls for your own program. So John, I apologize if that confused you, because Emmett answered you in the chat and I answered you in the chat. But little star note here on your notes from this meeting: bring warm-up balls. Bring warm-up balls for your US Bank games. And then also Juba on here. Greg, I wanted to give you an opportunity real quick to talk about what you were saying about your scrimmage vest, bringing scrimmage vests. We spoke about that.
Correct. So like you should have done at US Bank, no, should have done at quarterfinals, have a scrimmage vest. So your substitutes are wearing them on the bench. And all they have to do when they report is come to the table, tell them what number they're going in for, and then the 4th official will put them in. Bring this vest with you as you enter the field, and give it to the player you're going in for.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate that. That was just one little caveat I wanted you to hop in there. Thanks for what you're doing with the Coaches Association. All right, here, as we wrap up, I showed you a little bit on where we're going to be located. Most of the ADs on this call have my personal contact information, so there should be no issues in getting in contact with me, but that's where our staff is going to be located, that little area on the field level, access down through 138 and 140 staircase there. On game day, seek any of us out for assistance if you need it. When the bullets are flying, the games are rolling, people are there, seek us out. Let's get answers. Let's get things going so we give our communities the best experience that we can here. So with that, I want to say thank you. Best wishes to all of you in your pursuit of a state championship. And as I just mentioned, let us know if we can help. If there are questions that you can't get through your AD or that participation guide, shoot us an email, shoot us a call or a text, and we will get answers to you. I want this experience to be awesome for our kids in our community. There's nothing better than taking a team to state, and I want to be able to really capitalize on that for each and every one of your individual soccer programs, boys and girls. So I'm going to hang here for a little bit. We're not going to do a huge Q&A. I'm just going to make sure everything in the chat is listed out. If there are any additional questions that you can't answer, let me know, and we'll get you squared away. So with that, thank you. Congratulations again. We're excited to get things rolling next Tuesday at the bank. Have a great day.
Outstanding meeting, Phil. A+, just did amazing.
Oh, thanks, John. I love you too, buddy. Thanks for being here. Laura, I'm just kind of scanning the chat here just to make sure we get everyone taken care of. Jody, I saw your question with Tim. I'm gonna just talk to Tim and I'll have him reach out to you directly.
Great. I have one other question. I had a grandma call me yesterday. Somewhere they had heard that there's no jackets allowed at US Bank Stadium. And I figure we're Minnesota, and granted, it's not going to be a snowstorm next week, but is there any validity in that? When I looked at everything, I didn't see anything that said that. I just saw
I've
the.
never heard, I've never heard that. I can check with my contact there, but I've never heard no jackets allowed.
Okay.
Same,
thanks.
same. I haven't
Yep.
heard that either. I wear a jacket to every Vikings game I go to, so.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Yep. Good to see you, Jody.
Bye.
See ya. Tim, do you see Jody's question there in the chat there? Or did Tim hop off? I'll call him. All right. Leighton, Jody, Paul, tickets are purchased.
Question from Mike Harris. Yes, I'll post the PowerPoint and a recording of the video shortly on the ADs and coaches dashboard pages.
Perfect. Thank you, Amy. All right, we just have a handful of people on here. I'm more than comfortable opening up if there's a question or two that you want to roll while you have the collective group of people leading this thing. Go ahead and unmute. Paul?
I just wanted to make sure I pass along the right information for tickets. So I can go to the MSHSL link for the US Bank game. And if we lose and play in third place, then we got to direct them to hometown ticketing.
Laura, I want to say that they're still all on our page.
Correct.
They're still
Okay.
all on that same link is used for all of them. And then when you go to purchase, it takes you to the right entity, right? Whether it's US Bank's Ticketmaster stuff or our hometown ticketing. So that mshsl.org/tickets is the hub for all tickets.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep, no problem, Paul. Let's see, we got a new message down there.
How do the school comp tickets work for US Bank Stadium?
So you'll get, and Laura, correct me if I'm wrong, is Laura still here? Nope. You'll get an email with those in there, and then you'll go into, I believe you have to do it on their Ticketmaster site or whatever it is that they use it. You'll have to go, you'll get in that email, you'll have a link to that, and then you can assign those tickets. And I believe you can even email those out to who those 4 tickets are going to.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem, Troy. Good to see you, man. Caitlin, did you have a question? I saw you unmuted.
I do have a question just specific to Mounds View. Are we home or away? I assumed away, but on the online it shows us looking like home.
Give me 1 second. I'm pulling you up. All right. Girls soccer. Bracket. Three. Hey. All right, let's see what we got here. You should be the home team. You're
Okay,
the
well, we 3
were
unranked. We were unranked though, so I don't know why the 3 is there.
Oh no, I
Correct.
apologize. Yeah, that's right. No. You are the random draw. My bad. Caitlin.
I'll
Okay.
get that
Yep.
updated right now.
Yep.
Okay,
So
Sorry, that was an
okay.
error. I'll get that
So
updated right now.
we'll be in white.
You'll be the away team. Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
I
talk
just
to
want to
Laura
make
and
sure
see
we
why that-
didn't both show up in the wrong
Yeah.
Well,
wrong
No.
stuff.
Phil, I
And
can
Phil,
update
I
that
would-
right now.
if
Thank
we
you,
have
Amy.
anything else going out to the schools, I would just remind them that it's always prudent to bring both uniforms.
Both uniforms.
Just
Yeah,
in
that was in the initial participation guide. Both. All right, cool deal. Amy, when you send out or when you upload the recording and the PowerPoint, do you send a note out to all those on there that it's on that space? Like, is there an update to the ADs and coaches or no?
Usually there is not, but I
Usually
can.
there's not.
Yep.
We've set it in here, and that's been the practice that's been common, so I think we'll be okay. I was just thinking of a way to reiterate Emmett's reminder there, but we can find another way to do so. All right, with that, if there's not any other questions, I just want to say thanks for all being in here. We're excited to get things going. We'll be over at US Bank all day on Monday getting things set up. So thanks for coming. Jim, good to see you. You turned your camera on for the last 2 seconds of the meeting. That's nice.
I'm embarrassed the way I look.